This is the meeting of the Conservation and Improvement Committee. Did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
If so, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, under current business, public hearing on proposed modifications to agricultural districts. Evening, Laura.
Good evening.
Can you explain to us a little bit what this is all about?
I included a fact sheet on agricultural districts in the packet this time around since there's so many new committee members.
Thank
I
you.
find that helpful.
Yep, thank you.
The deal is that every once a year, beginning February 1st, there's a 30-day period in which landowners can apply to add their property to an agricultural district. It's been reviewed by the Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board, and basically what they're looking for is to see that the property is predominantly in agricultural use and actively farmed. So this year we received a request to add 7 parcels to the district. 2 we found were already in the districts, so we didn't review those. The remaining 5 were found to be predominantly agricultural and used for farming, and so the board is recommending addition to the districts. And the next step in the process is to hold a public hearing on the modification to the agricultural districts.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I do have a question, it might be stupid, but when you say agricultural, you mean strictly growing plants, or do you mean livestock?
It's defined actually in the ag and markets law, but it's many types of farming, whether
That's
it's
also
crops or hay or horticulture, greenhouse, a lot of things.
Yeah, because I see the one here is equine.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what, you just raised a thought in my mind. If you have a greenhouse, either a glass house or polyculture, and does that building get assessed?
I don't know about
Or
this.
is it considered agricultural land and you avoid any
I'm not
assessment?
involved at all with the assessments for this program. That would be a question for the local assessor.
Okay. So this district designation doesn't affect your assessment?
No,
Or your
but you
exemption
can-
under the ag exemptions? that
You
are
have to
available?
file that additional tax paperwork with the assessor.
But any of
And
these districts could get their agricultural tax break whether or not they're in this district?
If they met the
they met the-
qualifications,
yeah.
yeah, if you met the income and acreage qualifications.
Okay. So what does this do for them?
Well, these are the fact sheet. It offers a lot of the things that you typically see in a right to farm law. It's some protection from eminent domain takings through a review by the Commissioner of Ag and Markets. Also protection from nuisance complaints from neighbors who might file a nuisance complaint lawsuit against somebody for what are considered normal farming practices. There's also a real estate disclosure clause that says if you buy property adjacent to or in the agricultural district, there's a disclosure that farming activities are going on, and so be
What
prepared
about
for that.
pipelines?
Pardon?
What about exemption from pipelines and the eminent domain for the purposes of pipelines?
Well, I mean, it would have to be reviewed by the Commissioner of Agriculture and Markets, but part of the benefit of being in the district is you have them as the intermediary. I know, for example, there was a farm that was adjacent to the Voorheesville High School, and they proposed taking that, it was an alfalfa field, for new ball fields. Through working with the Ag and Farmland Protection Board, the farmer was able to ask for a decision from the Commissioner of Ag and Markets, and he decided that it wasn't a necessary use and that they couldn't take the farmland for that use, so.
Getting back to the pipelines for a second, FERC and the feds generally preempt state law on eminent domain for pipeline purposes. Does that mean that Ag and Markets really doesn't have any influence over that process?
I'm not sure. I can speak to that, I can check into it for you.
That's an issue in this county now. We've got pipelines sprouting up or proposed all over the place, so. A few
Yeah, I
in
know there was-
Bethlehem,
I know
a
there
few
was
in New
a-
Scotland, I'm sure there'll be elsewhere as
Yeah,
well.
there was an issue in Colony date, I can't remember what utility it was though. And while they were, there was already a right of way through the farmer's field, and while they couldn't prevent the actual taking of land, they were able to work out to make sure that there was as little disturbance as possible and that they replaced the topsoil where it was supposed to be. and things
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Can I just ask, it's not pertaining to this, but Bill's comments kind of raised this. Related to the pipeline issues that are now a big issue for Albany County, is there something that this committee could and should be considering that would be either in the venue of like a resolution or perhaps something that has more, more meat behind it related to a proactive statement on pipelines? I mean, maybe we already have in prior legislative session.
Well, last year, we passed the pipeline law, our sponsor is sitting right over there, the Water Protection Act, right, is what we call it? And that was sort of related to the blasting associated with putting in the pipeline.
Right,
That
but
was-
I guess I'm thinking about sort of next steps related to things like, maybe, and I'm just thinking out loud, and maybe I shouldn't with the camera on, but, things like encouraging the DEC commissioner or the governor to, to withhold support for any kind of pipeline activity. I mean, there's been a lot of activity that the governor's taken related to fracking and that kind of stuff, but this is a whole different animal. And I just wonder if there's something that has a little meat that we should be thinking about. Or maybe, Bill, you're already thinking about it, I don't know.
Well, one thing that the town of Bethlehem.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, you have an open agenda item.
Right, we gotta
That has
work
not
on
been
it.
resolved as yet, and
Yeah.
although that you certainly can control your committee in terms of further discussions, just for purposes of the minutes, I think this might get confusing.
Right. Well, why don't we tackle this item right now, if we can get a motion to move this?
So moved.
All in favor?
I think it was already moved in second.
No, that was the minutes.
Oh.
So, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Laura. Well, you can make any proposal you want, John.